I'm Carmen, a business matchmaker and founder of Crew, a new community here in Dubai that matches founders more intentionally. And in true matchmaker form, for today's episode, I actually matched two founders in Crew to interview each other. This is a Crew first, and I call it the Crew Takeover. So let me introduce you to our podcast host, Marms Hope. She's known as a systems magician in Crew for startups, and she helps founders find focus and clarity, do away with the noise, and focus on what really moves your business forward. She's the perfect host for the guest, Vimbai Midzi, the founder of Deeper Beauty. She's truly changing the narrative of what it means to have an inclusive beauty brand. Her first product is a melanin-friendly sunscreen, not just for all shades, but also all skin types. In this episode, they go deep into discussing systems for startups, the structure that you need, what it takes to be a good storyteller, and also what it takes to build something that lasts. And with that in mind, I throw it over to Marms Hope.
You've just launched your first product, a melanin-friendly SPF that's backed by science. But let's rewind. What made you create your own beauty brand?
Yeah, I mean, if you had asked me this 2 or 3 months ago, I would have told you it's because I was interested in cosmetic science and I love the chemistry behind formulations and I'm interested in beauty and its applications, and all of those things are true. But I think if I were to be honest with myself, I started this brand because I wanted to be seen by an industry that didn't see me. I have grown up, obviously, Black, in case that wasn't obvious, dark-skinned, which means that there were products on the market that didn't really fit my skin type. I then dug into what it meant to create inclusive formulations, the dearth of knowledge around clinical trials when it comes to darker skin types, and what that does to the market and what's available. And so for me, it was really an exercise in recognizing my own dignity, but the dignity of others around me who looked like me as well. So really that's the reason behind why I did it. But the nerd in me will always love chemistry and chemical formulations and the complexity behind it and the innovation within the beauty space. It's such an exciting space. It's full of color. It's a bit frivolous. It's fun. And so that was definitely something that I wanted to do as part of my legacy in my career.
Yeah. Sometimes I must say, if I look back in reflection, some people don't get what it actually takes to take an idea and transform it into what reality is today, right? The systems that you have to put in place, the processes, the step by step, like putting one foot in front of the other in order to just get to where you are today. And it's absolutely magnificent. So people assume skincare is about nice packaging and ingredients. But what you said is there's a science to formulation, right? That's often misunderstood. What do people get wrong about this industry?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think the real challenge when it comes to skincare is that it is quite individualized. So what works for me doesn't really work for you. But it's also a very complex kind of process of formulation. It's very finicky, it's very precise, and it's very important that people understand that the simpler your routine is, the better it is for your results.
Yeah.
I think that we live in a world that the viral kind of social media moment that we're in now can be good in some ways because it does give visibility to smaller brands like me, but it also means that we are in a world where aesthetics tend to take precedence over skin health.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the kind of misunderstanding around it, is that just because something looks good on a shelf, just because it's in Sephora or it's in Faces or whatever department store you're buying from, doesn't necessarily mean it's good for you. It doesn't also necessarily mean that it's a quality formulation.
Yeah.
And so really what I'm trying to do with Deeper is take a step back, look at the real purpose of skincare, which is to make sure that you have good skin health, and really look at the kind of simplicity of the skincare routine that you can use for your life. And I think that really then layers up to a kind of world that we live in that is very consumerist focused. And I think the overconsumption that we're in now means that people lean into buying more, but more doesn't necessarily mean better. And I think that's the misconception when it comes to skincare. I think there's a lot of different kind of moments of, 12-step routines that are very luxurious and seem very fun, but really, do you need them? Not necessarily. And so I think the most important thing for people to walk away with is the simpler it is, the better it is, the more you understand the science behind it, between those kind of 5 products that you use, 3 products that you use, that's much better for your skincare health than packing in things that are just pretty to look at.
Yeah, I totally get that. I usually use the KISS formula, which is keep it simple,
Yep.
stupid.
Exactly.
So if you follow that, it's a good way for you to move forward. And touching on that, if you look at what goes into putting forward your messaging, your intention, your purpose of your brand, people don't get that. But I must say with Deeper, I have seen that does really translate and gets out there to people. It's very, very clear what your mission and your vision is for Deeper and the purpose behind why you developed this product. And that's absolutely fantastic. It's a great way to get out in front of a very saturated market.
Absolutely.
Because if I look at how much skincare products there are, and especially when it comes to sunscreen, it's so saturated, like there's sunscreen everywhere. You're working on integrating AI into your skin analysis tools, which is impressive. I mean, can't even think how you would do that, but I know this is a lot more difficult behind the scenes. What has been the most challenging or unexpected part of trying to build something so ambitious?
Yeah, I wish I had one answer. There's many things that are challenging about it. I think just to explain what I really mean by AI, because AI tends to be this kind of big topic that doesn't really mean anything until you go into the meaning of it. But the idea here is that because skincare is so personalized, what I want to do is use AI tools to make sure that you can answer a questionnaire, upload a picture of yourself, take a selfie. We then analyze what that data looks like based on the questionnaire of your habits. What do you eat? Do you exercise? What have you used in the past? What irritates your skin? So we can then create a routine that works for you, that is personalized to you, and kind of follow up with you and find out, okay, you bought this product. Is it working for you? Is it not? What are the specific ingredients within that product that are best for your skin based on what analysis we've done already? And what that does is it really widens the opportunity for people to understand more about their skin, because I think the skin knowledge gap is also quite wide. There's a lot of different sources online, some good, some bad. And so we're trying to simplify that kind of knowledge gap as well and really close that gap. But I think the challenge in that is that historically, when you look at AI tools specifically around computer vision, and that's kind of taking a photo of your face, analyzing that, it's been really difficult to do that with darker skin tones. And so there hasn't been a lot of development when it comes to making sure that what looks like eczema on your skin and what looks like eczema on my skin are detected accurately. And so really what we're doing is we're training the model to make sure that it has enough information of different kinds of skin conditions on different kinds of skin tones, so you know that your result is accurate. And I think that's the biggest kind of gap that I'm trying to close, which is really the inclusivity gap, not just in the products that I provide, but also in the knowledge around that as well. Quick example is vitamin C is great, particularly L-ascorbic acid for dark spots, brightening skin. But at a specific percentage, it could actually cause more harm for people of color because we are more prone to post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. And so those kinds of nuances, those tiny little details are things that people don't teach us. And it's things that I really want to bring into the personalized routines for each person who decides to sign up for this. So this is coming soon. I'm really excited about it, but it's hard work. It's hard work to get right. And I'm excited to see it come to life.
Amazing. And also, like, I come from South Africa. You can't tell by my skin, but I come from South Africa, an African country. And I must say, if I look back at what beauty products are actually on the shelves, you do not find products for darker skin.
Yeah.
You just don't find. And that comes from hair products to skin products to anything for the darker colored lady to actually look after her skin the way the fairer colors can do that. So I do salute you for your passion that you have to do this.
All right. So you said that your dream collaborator was somebody who understood storytelling. Tell us a little bit more about what that looks like and why that's so important for you, particularly with the work that you're doing.
Yes. So if I look at what I do, I like structure. I like processes. I like routines. I like doing things in a certain order. My day-to-day life is exactly the same. My house runs without me. I do not need to be involved with that. If I look at systems, for instance, if you look at your Notions and your Google Workspaces and your Slacks and all that, they have a very specific target of what they're trying to achieve, right? That's exactly what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to create something more simplified in the space, because in a startup world, everything is chaos, right? One, there are no funds. Two, there's too much to do. And 3 is like, you don't know where to start with applications and all that, because there are so many of them out there. So my ideal partnership would be someone that looks after the vision that I have, and which is where the storytelling comes in, is like the passion as to why are we doing this? Why are we moving forward with structure? And my story from my days, and then I've got millions of them, is the fact that I have seen founders crash from zero of starting their companies to getting their first investments, and they with no structure. I've seen the downfall of that. And that's where I feel like any partner that comes in needs to understand that this is where you could go wrong if you don't have a system in place.
I think that's amazing, particularly because, I mean, as a founder myself, who's kind of at the beginning of my journey, it has been definitely a lesson to try and figure out how to create these systems for myself that work for me. And I think that's part of the challenge, exactly what you said around how there's so many platforms, but which one do I use? And am I spending more time trying to figure out how to use this platform versus just doing the work?
Absolutely.
And so it's this constant kind of oscillating between how do I create systems and how do I create impact? So I love the fact that you are who you are, because I am not like you. I'm glad that there are people in the world like you who can create, some sense in the chaos.
Yeah, the kiss.
The kiss, exactly.
Yeah. So if someone's listening and thinking about trying your sunscreen or learning more about your brand, what do you hope they walk away understanding about deeper?
Yeah, I think the key thing is intentionality. It's one of the pillars of my brand principles, which is historically, particularly people of color have been seen as an afterthought in the beauty industry. There was a sense of creating products that worked for a particular kind of person, but that left people like me out. Or that kind of started off this way and then it was like, 6 months later, well, we'll launch a darker foundation. It's kind of like, okay, so we were just going to sit here and wait. And so I think I want people to walk away knowing that I do everything with a lot of intention, that dignity is a real big part of my brand as well, that transparency is huge, that I'm trying to really educate people as much as I am trying to sell them a product that works for them. And so if I want people to walk away with what is deeper and how does this help my life, I really want them to know that this is a brand that is truly based on inclusive formulations, that isn't seeing people of color as an afterthought, and that really just wants to bring some sense of knowledge and understanding around skincare health, regardless of what your tone, texture, or type is.
Yeah, I love that word, intention and purpose. I literally had a conversation with someone just before this where they have been doing their socials, for instance, and just posting for the sake of it, not having any intentions or story or purpose as to why they are doing it. Intention is very, very important in everything that you do, because otherwise, why are you doing it?
Absolutely. So you are called the systems magician, which I love, behind other founders. But when you meet somebody like me who's building something from scratch, new to this, what's the first thing you look at to help me grow faster or to create some kind of semblance of peace in the chaos?
Absolutely. I usually look at where you want to go. What is your next step and your next path for the next year to 6 months to a year? And I work that backwards. And I look at where you are today and how achievable that would be in the next year or two, or even 6 months, right? I look at what you currently have, what team you have, if you have a team in place, which I hope you don't yet, because when you're this early in a journey, you shouldn't be having a team. And I just basically go and map out everything that is chaotic, right, for you. Because when you have your chaos on paper, strategy and process start to make sense to you. You start to see the problems. They start jumping out at you. And then I take it away from there and start building on a strategy and what my path looks like forward. A roadmap is the most important thing that you can have in your business. Like, if you don't have somewhere to go or a goal to achieve within a certain period of time, then you are literally just going finger in the wind. You're actually just going nowhere. Having a goal to aspire to, not just aspire to, but work towards, gives you that structure, because you don't focus on the goal. You don't focus on where I need to be and what I want to achieve. You focus on how am I going to get there. That's the most important thing out of that I can teach you.
Yeah, no, I love that because I was recently reading something by James Clear, and he was talking about how you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think that's definitely I can relate to that.
Yeah.
So totally understand.
Breaking down your chaos helps you move forward, right? Because the smaller chunks you tackle at a time, the less intimidating your chaos looks like. So getting a system in place just to cover small chunks at a time makes the bigger problem better.
What systems mistakes do you see people make on a daily basis? The things that make you cringe and you think, goodness, I wish you did something better about this.
Having too many systems in place.
Okay.
People that have systems in place for the sake of it. Too many applications. I find this especially because we're in a saturated market of applications and new applications coming out everywhere. And especially now with AI being so hot on the market, you find people overloading themselves with systems and overloading themselves with processes that just don't make sense. At the end of the day, in a year or two's time, they outgrow those systems and they can't scale, their systems can't scale with them. So they have to start everything from scratch again. So I'm a firm believer in when you put a system in place, put it in place with intention and purpose, those two words again, and make sure that it's a system that can help you and grow with you, not grow ahead of you or you grow ahead of it.
I think that's brilliant, especially because, I mean, I find as a first-time founder, there is this pressure to have these systems in place, and then realizing that I'm spending a lot of time trying to create the system and trying new tools and figuring out what works, and then realizing 2 weeks later this doesn't work for me, and it throws me back into the chaos again. So I think you're right in creating that like seamless one, like keep systems that work and systems that can scale. I think that's the most important because you have enough to worry about.
Exactly. Reviews, ratings, and the amount of users on it speak volumes.
Amazing. That's so
Thanks
funny.
for taking the time to chat, Midzi. I loved hearing more about your journey and what you're building, and good luck to Deeper and everything you're about to achieve.
Thank you, Moms. Really appreciate it. Love talking to you.